Okay, so in this last video, I want to show you another example of another piece of property and how this all may look if you get into different regions. So this region, the ranch campus, it was pretty straightforward. There was only one soil type. That's not always going to be the case, as we're going to see in this video. So we're actually going to find a different AOI. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and clear this AOI. I don't want it around anymore, and I want to basically reset all this back to the original. So I'm actually going to click on this globe right here, and it says zoom to full extent. Now, what I'm going to be showing you is actually a piece of property that I grew up on down in Texas, and it actually is going to contrast what we just looked at quite a bit, which makes it a good example. So I want to go ahead and zoom in. So I know that I'm going to be somewhere down in Texas. So I'm going to zoom in to that region. Now, where I grew up at is kind of in this area. So let's zoom in again. Now, I grew up actually in Goliad County and right around in this area. So let's zoom in there. I'm just going to kind of keep zooming in until I can get back to that place that I'm looking for. So that piece of property that I'm looking for is this piece of property right here. That's actually where I grew up at. So I want to go ahead and set my AOI. And again, I'm using a polygon because I know this property, it curves up right there, goes down, curves along this road, and then goes back up. So it's not a straight line, or it's not just a box. So I'm using my polygon one. So I'm going to come down here, grab it right here, kind of follow this road, making a couple of clicks. Hit right there, go up to this corner as well, and double click. Now it's going to be creating my AOI. Or, yes, AOI. So there it is right there. I want to name this Reagan Cattle Co. So then, now that I have that named, I'm going to go over here to my soil map. And as we can see, there's a lot of different soil types according to the soil survey in this particular area. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click this printable version. Click view. It's going to bring it up with a brand new web page. So here it is, and it's going to show me all this map, and it's going to show me all these different soil types that are predominant in this area. Again, it's going to give me a legend down here. So if you remember back to the ranch campus video, there was only one map type, or there was only one map unit symbol. There was only one map unit name. Well, here we're dealing with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There's a lot of different individual soil types in this particular area, and you might run into that in your own property, just depending on where you're at and the type of soils that have developed there and how much research has been done in that particular area. So now that we've got this, of course, you're going to need to download this, and we're going to call it Reagan Cattle Co. Click save. It's going to go into that folder that I'm placing it in. And then I'm going to start diving into what each one of these means. So we've got an Ender Fine Sandy. We've got a Claraville. We've got a Claraville Sandy Clay, Claraville Sandy Clay Loam here as well. Colibro Sandy Clay Loam. We got all these different types. So we need to now dive into each one. And from experience, I know that we actually hay on this particular field. So we've got a soil type right here. That's this WCW, which is that Weisach Sandy or Fine Sandy Loam. And then it goes into this, part of that field is under this RAB. This RAB is going to be Raisin Loamy Fine Sand. And then this PAB, so it's this Papalote Fine or Loamy Fine Sand. So what we need to do, and if you run into this issue with multiples, you're going to actually need to open up each individual one, pull up this printable view version, and bring up all of the individual ones and then download them. Because we're going to need information off of each one. And whenever you're getting into, at the end, you're going to need to create a report. And under these reports, I want you to talk about each individual place and tell me kind of what was the typical profile there. So we know that the first 12 inches is this fine sandy loam in this Ender area. And then some of these other major aspects that we're looking for. So like land capability classification, I'm going to want you to say that there would have been none specified for this area, but yet this other area is this 2E. So you're going to need to download all these individual ones and print them off too. Another thing I would encourage you to do is after you get them all downloaded, you're going to need them all downloaded, but print them off as well to where you can lay them out in front of you, especially if you've got a lot of different ones whenever you're creating this report. And so that way you can tell me what all is going on. So we could go into each individual one and download them all and keep them all together. And I would also encourage you, like I was saying, print them off. Print them off and then put them all in a folder. Like I was saying in the kind of the lab introduction to the lab video, put all this information in a folder, keep it together, because you're going to actually have to reference it all later on as well. At the end of it, I want you to create a report. I want you to create a report giving me kind of a synopsis of your area, some of the major key things. Like some of the key things I want you to tell me is, what does this mean annual precipitation? If you've got multiple soil types in that area, I would still estimate that a lot of these mean annual precipitation, air temperature is all going to be kind of along the same lines. So tell me that. Tell me how many frost-free days are there. Tell me things like, hey, in this particular area, my land capability is this 2S. Tell me what that 2S means. And give me an overview of kind of what did you find, what struck out at you. Give me a summary of it all. Were there a lot of different land capability classifications? Why do you think that is? And just really give me a nice report. And remember, this is mainly for you to where you know what kind of soil it is. But that's essentially what I need you to do in case you have a lot of different soil types like in this area.